On Friday fight night, a big talent is back where he belongs, under the bright lights and in the big city.
Beautiful shot from David Haye. It is all over in a flash. These are solid punches. What about that? There's the power of David Haye. 15th knockout win. And David Haye has a big win.
He's the new European cruiserweight champion, and it's David Haye's first defence tonight against Lasse Johansen of Denmark. In truth, Haye has made his mistakes along the way, but now they say he's set not just to dominate in Europe, but to go on to become the best in the world at cruiserweight, so emulating the likes of Johnny Nelson and Glenn McCrory, world cruiserweight champions present and past. And if Haye is going to become a major star, where better to start? Ed Robinson.
The Haymakers hitting London, which spells guaranteed excitement for the capital.
There's the power of David Haye.
When the Haymaker hits London, people know about it, and they're gonna feel the FUD when I start landing, that's for sure.
Haye's set to renew hostilities with Denmark's Lasse Johansen, who he narrowly outpointed as an amateur 6 years ago.
I was coming forward all the time. I didn't give up. So I gave him all the fight he needs. So he was very tired and he was hurt after the fight.
He had a great will to win. He really wanted to win the fight, and he came to fight. And we both had a great fight together. The crowd loved it.
The unbeaten Dane should certainly provide a greater test than Alexander Gurov did last time out.
He is the European champion, and it is all over in a flash.
Hopefully this guy take a few of those and not fall over so quickly.
Team Haye are taking Johansen very seriously indeed.
This guy is tall, he can box, he's got a good chin, but the one thing is he's purposeful and determined, and he has come to win.
But the London puncher's confidence has been boosted by a welcome visitor to his Miami training camp. Former world heavyweight champion Lennox Lewis.
He came into camp and really gave me some real great tips and hints, and showed me a few great tactical tools to use when I'm in the ring.
Haye admits he'll soon be looking to emulate Lewis.
Fingers crossed, in a year's time I'll be fighting at heavyweight. Hopefully I'll have achieved my goals at cruiserweight, and I can start eating and then move up and start fighting some of the big boys.
But first, he intends to rule the cruiserweights, and Johansen's standing in his way.
After 6th round, definitely I stopped David Haye.
I think he'll come out and stand in the middle of the ring and try and have a tear up, which should be great for me.
Self-confident young man, Glenn. Is he right to be?
Well, he is. His confidence and his career are very big. He's doing everything right. Sometimes that confidence can be a problem as well, and he's got to be wary about that. But I think at the moment, he's doing everything right.
Despite the hype, Johnny, it's not been a perfect career so far. Now he is a European champion. Does that require an extra level of responsibility in his approach?
To this point, David's cruised for every one of his opponents. Now he's become European champion. He's up against tough opposition. And in Johansen, this will be his toughest fight yet.
Well, we know that he wants to emulate Johnny and Glenn at cruiserweight, but it's not a secret that Haye already eyes a rise up to heavyweight, and maybe events at yesterday's weigh-in indicate that might be sooner rather than later. Johansen first on the scales, no problems for the challenger, just under the 200-pound 14.4 limit. And then Haye, and after an embarrassed silence, he turned out to be a pound over.
201.
Johansen was able to reward himself with a little treat or two, while Haye's new promoter Frank Maloney had to wait 20 minutes for Haye to reappear. And at the second time of asking, he was a pound lighter. What should we take from all that, Glenn?
Well, I think he makes no secret of the fact that he does struggle for the weight. He said as soon as he can win a world title, he's going up to heavyweight. I think it's a little bit unprofessional. He's been in Miami where I think that the problem occurs. He's been out training in the heat. He's come back 10 days to go. all of a sudden it's cold. It's much tougher to shed that weight, to keep it down.
The one thing, Johnny, is where it counts most so far this season, he's really convinced in the ring, has he not, in his 2 outings?
He's produced the goods, and he's getting better as his professional career goes on. As we saw in the weigh-in, it was unprofessional of him, but you know what, I think he may have slightly underestimated his opponent.
Rosito here in October, he was a world-rated man, and Haye toyed with him, didn't he?
With Rosito, that was natural Haye. He tried to pace himself, but he couldn't. He outboxed him and outpunched him, and he didn't even step up an extra level.
He had the time against this opponent. He had the time to get that right hand on, to move around the ring. But I mean, when he loads up with that big right hand, he really gets everything behind it.
Alexander Gurov came next, the reigning European champion, 3-time champion in all. He didn't need any time, 45 seconds.
He didn't need any time at all, and he did this perfectly. You just see the way, the control, just sees the shot, but it comes up, that right hand, right from his back leg, all the way up the body, and just look at the angle of his body.
Every fighter has a natural shot, and his natural shot is that big right hand followed after the jab, and when he gets it on the mark, there's nobody gets out of the way.
And anybody, he hits anybody with that, they are going to struggle.
Cruiserweight or heavyweight.
Lasse Johansen knows all this, of course, but what are we expecting in his approach tonight?
Well, remember, he knows them. He's been in with them as an amateur.
And it was a good fight.
It was a good fight, and he did a lot of damage to David Haye's lip. He'll have some confidence. He's an undefeated fighter. We don't know how good he is. He certainly never tasted defeat, so we know he can dig deep. So it's a very good test, and it's a tough one for Haye.
Real tingle around tonight. They've actually had to turn fans away from the York Hall Bethnal Green, a complete sellout. But 3 who did make sure of their seats: Gordon Ramsay and the men who will sit beside him there, Matt Dawson in the middle, and our own Jamie Redknapp, and we know, of course, his dad Harry loves his boxing too. So the Haymaker hits London for the first time since losing to Carl Thompson. That was at Wembley. He's back here at the York Hall where he turned pro, and they say better than before. It's time to prove it. Commentators tonight, Adam Smith and Jim Watt, after our MC Mike Goodall.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome live and exclusive on Sky Sports. We welcome our viewers to Friday Fight Night. For tonight's main event from the traditional home of boxing in London's East End, Bethnal Green, and a packed York Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the ring, firstly, the challenger for the title from Denmark, Lasse Johansen.
Well, there's been bullish statements and confidence exuding. He says, no pressure, no fear, nothing to lose. The challenger, Lasse Johansen, from the East Jutland area in Denmark, who's quietly notched up 14 wins, having been a quality amateur, and he pushed David Haye all the way in the Acropolis Cup some 6 years ago. I guess, Jim, he shouldn't be taken lightly.
He should not. I mean, the last 2 visitors that come to these shores to face David Haye, I don't think they had any real belief in themselves. But this fellow looks to be a little bit different. He's already shared the ring with Haye, although it's as an amateur, but it does count for something. And over the years, we've seen some real tough nuts from Denmark. He hasn't really been tested yet, but that doesn't mean he's not capable when the time comes. Well, the time has come tonight. This is a tough one for him. He is an underdog, but hopefully he's as good as his record suggests.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the European champion from Bermondsey, London, sensational David Haye!
They have come out for him. A new chapter begins for David Deron Haye. Precocious, dazzling at times, and at 25 he now stands as the European Cruiserweight champion. Yes, question marks have loomed over both his mental and physical makeup, but he's one of the hardest pound-for-pound punchers we possess. And Jim, a fighter we can surely start really getting excited about.
Yeah, I think so. He has a star quality about him that's pretty obvious. But if you take out the Carl Thompson affair, everything has come just a little bit too easy for David Haye. I mean, 16 fights, they've averaged only just over 2 rounds per fight. He needs people who can take him a few rounds to be see the improvement, to be see what he's got, to be see what stamina he's got, what he's got, what is needed. Maybe tonight we'll find that out. We haven't found it out yet, but he is definitely an outstanding talent.
Your call, packed to the rafters for this first defence of his newly acquired European title. Let's have a look at how they line up. 5 years older, Lasse, Johansen, the height advantage and the reach to David Haye, but he did take 2 attempts to make 14-4. Wants to go to heavyweight. Is it a problem making the cruiserweight limit now for him? Both debuted 4 years ago. Haye slightly more fights, but look at the rounds boxed, hardly anything. All 15 of his wins have come by knockout, the 93% ratio, the only defeat by stoppage as well from Carl Thompson.
Ladies and gentlemen, the officials appointed for this contest by the European Boxing Union, the supervisor in charge, Mrs. Enza Jacoponi of Italy, the British Boxing Board of Control steward in charge, Mr. John Handler, the timekeeper, Mr. Bob Edgeworth of Bromley, 3 judges at ringside scoring the contest on the 10 mustard system, Mr. Jean-Louis Legrand from France, Mr. Essa Latassari from Finland, Jose Villas-Muller of Spain, and our referee in charge of the action tonight, Mr. Guido Cavallari of Italy. Ladies and gentlemen, Maloney Promotions and sponsors, BBE Britannia Boxing, Trend Index, StanJames.com and Maxi Muscle proudly present tonight's main event, live and exclusive on Sky Sports, Friday Fight Night from York Hall in Bethnal Green in association with Red Square. A contest of 12 3-minute rounds to decide the Cruiserweight Championship of Europe. Between and introducing, firstly, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the red trunks trimmed with blue. He comes from Listrup in Denmark and weighed in at 14 stone 2 pound. He comes to the ring undefeated, 14 wins from 14 contests. 10 wins coming by way of knockout, and comes to the ring tonight as the challenger for the title. Please welcome from Denmark, Lasse Johansen. And his opponent across the ring in the blue corner, wearing the all-black trunks, coming from Bermondsey in South London, weighing in at 14 stone 4 pound, coming to the ring with a 16-fight professional record, 15 wins all by way of knockout with 1 loss. He's the reigning European Cruiserweight Champion, tonight making the first defence of his title. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting David Haymaker Haye! The referee, Mr. Cavallari, will now give his instructions to both boxers.
Step back when I order stop back, okay? Good luck.
Well, David Haye took just 45 seconds to dispatch Alexander Gurov just before Christmas to claim this European cruiserweight crown. He's got 6 first-round wins. Probably not the time to lose concentration here, especially for Lasse Johansen. But the Dane's never lost in 14. He can hit, and he fancies that he can take Haye into the trenches, much like Carl Thompson did. Every Haye fight, Jim, brings excitement.
Yeah, well, you know, 1 second the whole thing can be over. He does have tremendous power. He's naturally athletic. perfect timing, good technique. I mean, he's got everything you want in a fighter. It's maybe a problem that he just seems to be struggling at the weight, to not making the weight at the first attempt. You have to worry a little bit about that, as his concentration on the job all the time.
Trying to get the jab going. Relies on the skills and speed, and has got thunderous power, Haye, who's been honing his body on South Beach out in Miami. Tries a quick left hook. Lennox Lewis has been to his training sessions. He's been sparring with heavyweights like Freza Kendo, and he feels he will walk through Lasse Johansen.
I tell you, there was quality in those leads. A left hook lead which landed in the straight left jab. These are tremendous punches. Johansen smiling back, but he's severely troubled straight away with those.
A new level for Lasse Johansen. Carefully brought through. 5 years older. What has he got to trouble Haye with? Look at that jab, Jim. Ramrod.
Yeah, and it's just natural too. Nothing is forced. I mean, you can see Johansen just a little bit tense as he comes forward. You know, you can see him forcing the punches out, but he has that relaxed American style of boxing.
Right hand, beautiful shot. Johansen took it. Nodded in appreciation, but must have felt that.
But it is important that Haye starts meeting people who can take him a few rounds, because his career so far hasn't prepared them for the tough cruiserweight division. There's some real hard men at the top of the division, and you have to be prepared for those guys when you meet them. They don't fall down in 1 and 2 rounds.
The only time David Haye has been beyond 4 is when he was stopped by Carl Thompson. He was all over Thompson for a couple of rounds, but ran out of steam and stamina, and that's one of the negative points that hang over him.
He's really looking quick, the way he's getting these punches out, Haye. I don't remember him being quite as quick as this. Okay, the last fight didn't last long enough to see, but he's springing those punches out, no change of facial expression, they're just coming out of their own accord, sharp and powerful and accurate.
A positive opening round from David Haye.
The Citroën Zara Picasso. Free your mind. Buy one now and pay from only $9,995 with free saddle models. Citroën Zara Picasso for happy deals this month.
A very warm welcome back to a jam-packed York Hall where David Haye made his debut in December 2002, back defending his European title.
Yep, impressive start. Johansen back hoping for a confidence-building opening round. He didn't get it. That was impressive stuff from David Haye.
Second round, 17th professional outing for David Haye. And this is the session that he dispatched of Vincenzo Rossito at the end of last year. Rossito world rated. Haye about 9th, we think, in the world rankings. Lasse Johansen in fight number 15. He stopped 10, but Haye is looking very authoritative. Trying to apply the pressure, Johansen. Look at that right hand, so swift.
And the fact that he can punch right through the defence of Johansen. I mean, Johansen's hands were up in the proper position. He's just busting right through his defences. Look.
Swelling and a little cut developing underneath the right eye of the man from Listrup in Denmark. Another right hand. This the session that he floored Lasse Johansen when they met in the amateurs, won that one on points.
Johansen knows his place in the proceedings tonight now. I think he knows it's second prizes tonight. Just how long can he hang in there and make a show of it? I mean, full credit to him. He was trying to take the play away from Haye. Then one punch just changes his mind completely.
Yeah, there's a confused, bewildered look on the face of Lasse Johansen. Trying to talk to David Haye through his gum shield. Pop out his own jab.
The last time they met, they were both amateurs. Well, now we have a pro against really a glorified amateur. I mean, different league. What David Haye's produced so far. Johansen pretty predictable, just coming forward with his hands tight in front of his chin. But what a difference in quality and class in David Haye now.
Seeking out the angles, waiting to deliver the next shot. There it is. Another right hand, this time through the middle.
We also have to remember, Adam, he's taken nothing in return. So although things are his own way, nothing sloppy, good concentration, doing everything right, not allowing Johansen into this.
Let's get through with the right, Johansen. But very little success at all for the Dane, who looks troubled as Haye tees off again.
And that is England's victory. What a comeback.
Tuesday morning, 4:15, Sky Sports 1.
Well, tonight we're watching one of our top professionals, former amateur star, and he's got that pedigree, Jim.
And you can see the way he's able to just punch right through the defence of Johansen. You wonder what Johansen can come up with.
Here's the third round, as always, the black trunks of David Haye, standing 6'3", wants to move up into the heavyweight division at some point, but wants a crack at the world cruiserweight title before that happens. Got to just keep his mind on the business tonight, first of all. All going well so far against Lasse Johansen.
That's a solid jab he's throwing, straight to the point. I mean, Johansen's doing pretty much what you would tell a man to do in his situation, but just can't get himself into the fight. He looks a different league.
Johansen desperately attempting to get a foothold, and his own jab is falling short. Growing in frustration, you feel.
To his credit, he is trying to come forward, but there's no real confidence in the punches he's throwing. I think as he throws the punch, he's thinking more about the counter coming back. And when you're in that situation, well, there's no belief in your work.
He said he will do everything he can to force Haye to fight rounds. It's only the 38th in his whole pro career, David Haye.
Yep, well, certainly not totally discouraged. Johansen has been badly shaken several times, but still has the look of a man who fancies the job.
A little less from Haye in the first couple of minutes of the third. Look at that right hand. That's the combination he loves to use. Still trying. Johansen in there with the jab.
Well, Johansen not giving Haye the same amount of time now. He's keeping on him, keeping him busy, marching on. I think he feels a bit safer the closer he is.
He's shown a good chin too.
Yep, he certainly has, and he's made Haye work in this round.
quite as easy as he found it in the first two. David Haye.
See some nose damage as well now from Johansen, so if that's troubling his breathing, that's the last thing he needs. Not quite so impressive in that round, David Haye. Went to sleep a little bit.
Well, power is really the name of the game with David Haye, 93% knockout ratio, and have a look at that. All 15 wins have come inside 4 rounds, 6 in the first, 5th in the second, 2 in the third, 2 in this, the 4th. But when he's gone beyond 4, he's been beaten. Just crept a little closer, didn't he, Johansen in the third?
Yeah, it was a quiet round from Haye. He doesn't seem in any, even the times he's shaken Johansen, he hasn't been in too much of a hurry to get the job finished. Maybe he wants to put a show on, maybe he fancies he can do it any time he likes. That's maybe underwriting Johansen's chances a little bit, but certainly his punches are a far higher quality.
Johansen has been 12 rounds before, so unsurprisingly wanted to try and take Haye down the stretch. Maybe Haye will test himself and his own stamina tonight.
See, I think the problem, not the problem, but I mean, Haye's boxing at his own pace, everything's under control. So, I mean, we need to see him doing rounds at a pace, and maybe at the other guy's pace, but he's got everything under control here. He's perfectly happy, just letting the punches go when he feels like it. Nothing that Johansen's done has troubled him.
Just reaching with the jab again, Johansen. Haye taking the step back, looking for the counters. And a body shot there. It's a sickening jab when it gets going.
Yeah, and it's accurate, and as I say, there's no change of facial expression. The jab that just shoots out, no warning, and Johansen just keeps walking right onto it. His hands are tight in front of his face, as they should be, but he's punching right through it.
Left hand very low of David Haye. That's when he springs the jab or the left hook like that forward.
I think if he wants to get this job over with, I think he's going to have to start moving forward, get his body weight behind the punches. He's picking the punches nicely, they're classy punches, but he's backing off most of the time. It's maybe time to start marching forward. If he pushed Johansen back, I mean, Johansen's having a real go at it here, all kind of disjointed. But I think if he wants the job over, he wants to start pushing this fellow back.
It's getting closer and starting to connect now, Lasse Johansen. This is what Carl Thompson did. He rode out the storm and he came back very strong, outlasted Haye.
I mean, as I said in the build-up, most of his career has been so easy. Is he going to like it when it's not so easy? That was not his best round, that's for sure.
What makes an iconic sports car? Thrilling drive? Unique design? Or award-winning performance? The Mazda RX-8, now with 0% finance.
Defense for a fucking Are you listening to what I'm saying? Right. Out, box him out, smart him out, and sting him with the shot. Okay. You've thrown too many punches in the gym. Okay. I feel sorry for yourself. Okay.
Corners, slightly worried there, Adam Booth. Took a few at the end of the 4th round. Blood from the nose of David Haye. And this is when the bubble was burst by Carl Thompson. Does he need to up the pace, get this job done quickly?
No, It's not so much that, but you don't want to take a man's confidence away from him and then allow him to find it again, and that's what Haye's done. I mean, it was more impressive in the first couple of rounds than in the third and fourth. Now you would expect him to get better and better with every round. Every time a ramrod jab found its way home should discourage Johansen even more. It's not happening. He's starting to fancy the job again. Really, he should be getting his body weight forward. He should be pushing this fellow back, which would take away most of what he's got.
Blood continues to dribble from the nose of David Haye, and Lasse Johansen is getting ever bit nearer. And there's a couple of worried looks around people at ringside, because it's happened to him before.
Well, I tell you, it's a big problem when the other fellow has taken your best and he's still there. And talent will get you through the first 6 rounds of a title fight. Then you need something else. You need grit, determination and conditioning and strength at the weight. So we better hope David Haye has those. But it's time to get the body weight forward, push this fellow, start showing who's the boss. He's not doing that yet. Maybe just starting to do it now.
He's elected to go out to Miami for 6 weeks before fights to train there in a gym full of Cubans. Ricardo Mayorga was alongside him. He said he's learned a lot from that. Dedication, fitness and desire.
I mean, it really surprised me. Usually fighters who are struggling at the weight make the weight first visit because all their concentration's on it. The fact that he didn't, I mean, it's an added worry. Is he strong at cruiserweight in a tough battle?
And the fact, Jim, also that he's already talking about boxing at heavyweight.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. And the fact that he's struggling at the weight, well, usually these guys make it at the first go because they're concentrating on making the weight. And he missed it. To say the least, it was unprofessional.
Lasse Johansen marching Haye back around the ring.
And he's coming through them. He's punching not quite so good in this round, but the ones he has thrown, Johansen is beginning to walk through them. He wasn't doing that in the early rounds.
A real turn in the tide. Still standing in the corner, and the first time now that he'll have gone beyond 5 rounds in his pro career, in his life. How worried are they?
Nice deep breath in.
Well, I'm worried because world-class fighters should start to roll after 4 or 5 rounds, start finding the rhythm, start really looking the part. But it's been the opposite with David Haye. He looked a different class to Johansen in the first couple, but look what's happening now. His head's getting jolted back with the punches. For the first sign that he could have problems here.
Corners, 10 seconds.
Brian Matheson with Lasse Johansen,
Round 6.
who's probably growing in confidence round after round. He's made it this far, and he's proved to us all that he can live with David Haye, at least for now. The red and blue of the man from Denmark, 5 years older, challenging for a major title for the first time.
Well, I had the feeling if Haye had imposed himself in the first couple of rounds, it would have been another early night. He hasn't done that. It's time to do it now. If he still has his steam, I mean, he looks okay. No signs of tiredness. He's not breathing heavily. It's not arm punches, still sharp punches he's throwing. It's his attitude, though. He wants to impose himself and start really taking charge.
Good uppercut there from David Haye. Again, Johansen shows a good chin.
But there you are, a burst of punches from Haye, and who's the first one to back off, and who's right onto his tail? Johansen. Johansen is really beginning to fancy this. Nothing fancy, nothing cute, just marching forward, making Haye work, but keeping his body weight back. Haye really beginning to struggle at the moment.
Right eye just starting to swell of David Haye as well. He remembers Johansen from when they met in the Acropolis Cup, and remembered a busted lip from that, and what a right hand from the challenger from Denmark, who is turning this fight around.
Decent right hand, and again he's walked through it. He must be beginning to worry. He depends on his power. Yet Johansen smiling and walking forward after the big bombs. Ah, dirty with the head here, had to have a work. That was nasty, that was cynical.
Yeah, referee Guido Cavalieri just telling Johansen, first bit of spite that he's shown, bit of nastiness. And this is where we start to learn about David D. Haye.
Well, he has relied on his power all the way through his career. If that's not going to get the job done tonight, what else does he have? Still looks classier, more purposeful than Johansen, but this is not a good round for David Haye. Been out-jabbed there.
Being outreached. There's the right hand again.
But his single shots, he's not putting anything together, there's no rhythm. Well, at the moment, who has the look of being the boss in there? It's Lasse Johansen pushing Haye back. He's still looking the part, he's still looking classy, but not looking the boss.
Well, I wonder what our former world cruiserweight champion up in the studio is thinking of it, Glenn.
Well, Adam, I think it's a little bit perplexing. He's just dropping himself down to the level of Johansen. I think he started very well and very relaxed, getting the shots off, looking a perfect performance in the first couple of rounds. But I think he just expected Johansen to hit the floor, and now he's losing the game plan. He's got to go out there. He's really got to take over this fight, put Johansen on his back foot, and remember how hard he punches and how good he is, and he can get this job done. But I want to hear the corner tell him that.
Jim, has he got the energy, stamina and reserves to do what Glenn's saying?
Well, that's one of the questions we asked before the first bell. But I mean, Johansen is so predictable, you know exactly what he's going to do. He is in a different league, talent-wise, but he won't impose himself. This is turning into a real struggle for him.
Just shakes his arms, David Haye. Second half, European cruiserweight title on the line. The first defence of the belt he won so impressively in Bracknell. One-punch demolition of Alexander Gurov, and this is a different story entirely. Positive start, but troublesome few spells, Jim.
I tell you, another problem for Haye, I mean, Johansen with the style he has, he doesn't waste too much energy, does he? Doesn't waste anything, he looks as though he can do this all night long. So he has to get that confidence. He dented it in the first couple of rounds, he has to do the same. He should be getting his body weight forward, start pushing this fellow back. He wants to do it with one single classy shot. He's landed his best, hasn't done the job, so maybe up the pace, take control of things. That was better.
Yeah, picked that one well. The right hand trying to prise that tight guard open of Johansen, who's fought such a creditable fight already.
Now that was a beautiful right hand. That's the right hand that's been knocking people out all through his career, and Johansen's taken it and walked forward again. What will David Haye be thinking?
33-1 on to win this fight, David Haye. Few people thought it would go 2 rounds. Look at this. Johansen getting encouragement from his corner. Looking strong and fit and determined.
Yeah, he's showing the qualities that David Haye hasn't really had to show yet. And he is always the first one to back off now. It's as though Johansen has got used to the pain and he's not too bothered about it anymore. He's prepared to take it to get his own punches off.
Still the jab when he uses it, David Haye. Looks great, and a right uppercut. He's got the punches.
I mean, these are good quality single punches he's throwing, but why is he not mounting an attack? Now, this is the time to move in. See, they've just worsened the eye damage there.
Cut to the left eye now for Johansen as well. That might spur Haye on. Still he waits, backed off.
I think he was trying to draw Johansen onto a counter there, got the punch off but didn't land. I mean, he's improved a bit in this round. His punching is better, he's taken charge a bit more. Maybe dented the confidence of Johansen again, but he has to do this and pick up in the next round where he's left off here. But better from Haye there.
Nasty gash open on the left eye of Lasse Johansen from a right hand of David Haye. Brian Matheson goes to work. Will that just swing things again, confidence-wise?
Well, I think that's a very important round. In these title fights, sometimes there's one round that decides the outcome. Johansen must have been shattered with some of the punches in the first couple of rounds. Then he gained his confidence, got himself into the fight, had a couple of decent rounds. But now Haye, with the power and the precision, has taken that confidence away again. But Haye must step right up to the plate when the bell sounds here and pick up where he left off. The job is almost done now.
Corners, 10 seconds.
What a spirited effort it's been from Lasse Johansen. And David Haye looking to impose himself once more and find a later stoppage maybe that will silence some of the critics that think he's got no puff and no resistance. That's a good right hand though from Johansen at the start of the 8th.
I thought Johansen looked a little bit dejected at the end of the round there, but no, he's come out firing again.
Hardly any names on the Johansen record, but was a 4-time Danish amateur champion. I think they both remember that fight they had. It obviously was hard. He's not been phased, has he, the Danish challenger?
Well, a couple of times it looked as though his confidence had sagged, but at the time when Haye should have put his foot to the floor and really taken over, he didn't. I think he was putting on a boxing exhibition in the early rounds, enjoying himself. And I think maybe now he's wishing maybe he had put the pedal to the floor then. I mean, he's boxing well again. He seems to have his mind back on the job. A couple of lazy rounds, he seemed to have that behind him. But still being pinned, but still not imposing himself. Single shots, good shots, but mount an attack and let the punches flow.
Haye, who's already won the English cruiserweight title, and now with the European bout, but looking for bigger things. Maybe underestimated Lasse Johansen. That's a good right hand through the middle. And here in the 8th round, there's plenty of time. Cracking uppercut. And maybe, just maybe, this is the moment for David Haye to strike.
Just in a flash, the quality and class comes through. These are quality punches. Referee's thinking about it.
Dropped his hands there. Lasse Johansen, and David Haye smiles as he retains his European cruiserweight title. It's another stoppage win, but he had to go rounds to get the job done this time. Brave battle from Lasse Johansen, but in the end, Jim, class told.
Yeah, but he finally, that little rocket he needed to get him started, to get him to move up the gear. We always knew it. From the first bell we could see he was a different class, different quality in his work and his punches from Johansen. But full credit to the Dane, he never gave up, he kept trying all the way through, and he has answered a few questions of David Haye. David Haye, definitely talented, quality fighter, but maybe not just as good as he thinks he is, maybe a little bit to do yet. But I mean, there was a lot of quality in his work tonight. Take the couple of lazy rounds out, and it was quality stuff, good accurate punches. But this was the first time he mounted an attack and stuck with it. first time he really imposed himself on Johansen.
He just looked at the referee there and nodded, didn't he? As if to say, I think I've had enough.
Yeah, the referee caught his eye there, and I think that his back was to us. We couldn't actually see his facial expression, but I think that must have told it all, because these were sickening punches, and for the first time he was allowing the punches to flow. That was an uppercut, beautiful punch, just target practice at this stage. So probably the referee at this point may be looking for an excuse to step in, and that little look he got from Johansen. So he glanced over to the referee, dropped his defences. Referee picked the right time to step in.
Lasse Johansen stopped and beaten for the very first time. And David Haye just went up a gear there, didn't he? It was a cracking uppercut.
Yeah, and I still feel we haven't seen the best of David Haye. I think he came in the ring tonight fancying he was far better than the opposition, which was the case. So I think when the time comes and he has to produce form a little bit better, I still think he'll do it. Definitely an exceptional talent, but it's good to see him working.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 2 minutes and 10 seconds of round 8, the referee has stopped the contest. The winner and still Cruiserweight Champion of Europe, David Haymaker Haye. And ladies and gentlemen, your appreciation, please, Lasse Johansen.
Well, a relieved man, David Haye, that it is 16 wins, 16 by stoppage. It's been an interesting one, hasn't it? And quite a hard defence of that belt. We have plenty more action as well ahead on Friday Fight Night. Gary Woolcombe is unbeaten young light middleweight up against Eugenio Montero. Good match that. Anthony Small, David Haye's best friend. Real exciting character up against Kai Karomaki. And Sam Webb, good body puncher up against Gassis Skuja. But let's find out what David Haye made of all that. He's with Ed Robinson.
Well, David, was that the best and worst of David Haye this evening?
No, it's definitely the best of me. As you can see, I'm not rushing like a lunatic like I did before. Frank Maloney, Eugene, had a great promotion this time round. Beautiful, it's like a breath of fresh air coming in, packed out, the tickets are sold out. Great event, and I'm just really happy to be part of it. Adam Booth and Jorge Rubio.
Just got to say, after a good start, you did look lethargic and a bit tired at times.
Yeah, it was a little bit of jet lag. Obviously, I've been out in Miami for 5-6 weeks, so coming back over here with a cold, it sort of messed my system up. And I had a bit of a cold for the last 10 days. I haven't been able to shake it off, but I'm really fortunate that I had my little workout with Lennox Lewis, because one thing he was adamant on was taking your time, patient. Things don't always come straight away. You've got to keep picking a lock, keep touching him. Things might not appear to be going my way, but I'm always under control. I'm always looking. I know what shots he's landing, and I was always rolling away. I didn't take hardly anything flush. Everything was sort of rolling and slipping and sliding, which I've been working on a lot in the gym.
Were you glad to get the rounds and prove you can win late?
Yeah, I know in myself I can win late. I put so much training in down the first base in Piccadilly, then the Miami fight out in Durrell. Everything's just come together lovely. And as you saw then, I'm not just a 1 or 2 round fighter. I can go 12 rounds. You know, I had my gas tank wasn't empty. I was choosing not to throw lots of punches. I was waiting for the right shots. And it came as it proved that I can be patient and I can take people out late on in the fight.
You promoter Frank Maloney, what's next for David?
Well, obviously sit down with him. Hopefully another defence of this, and then we'll look at the world scene. But to watch him tonight was good. I mean, I was very nervous at the start, and I was, sitting there thinking, this is a new journey, a long journey, and watching him there. But I was pleased. The performance was first class. He took his time. He controlled the fight from the first round.
Mind you, Lennox?
A little bit. The jab was good. The jab was. I mean, that was the thing we talked about. This, the three of us, about what Lennox had taught me about the jab. And that jab was like watching Lennox Lewis, and we just got to get the right hand to fire over a bit sharper, and we'll be there.
Definitely.
Praise indeed. Well done tonight.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate that.
Hang on, guys. On the record, Lennox Lewis has not been in the building tonight. He has the European title. That is important. But also, David Haye has to go on convincing us. Thoughts of Glenn and Johnny on that when we come back, and some more excellent action here tonight. Young light middleweight Gary Woolcombe in action against Eugenio Montero, and young Woolcombe is pretty hot stuff.
What a knockout for Gary Walcombe. One punch, turning the...
Alien vs Predator premieres tomorrow at 8 on Sky Movies 1 and then every 15 minutes via the red button on Sky Movies 9.
StansPoker.com. Send it.
Next week on Friday Fight Night, from Japan, the WBC World Bantamweight title showdown between Hozumi Hasegawa and Virafol Sahaprom. Join us for Friday Fight Night next week at 10 on Sky Sports 1. Top of the bill and talk of the town this week, David Haye. Well, he can certainly pull in a crowd, and it does create interest as much among the media as any young fighter in the country right now, and he is still European Cruiserweight champion. Johnny Nelson, you held the European title twice on your way up. At the same stage, at the age of 25, would you have been happy with the performance that Haye put up for us tonight?
Personally, no. If Brendan was in my corner boxing the way he did, I'd have got a slap around my face, because why give him a man a chance that hasn't got one? He made an orthodox fighter look like he had a great chance there. David is a talented puncher, but he gave an orthodox fighter too much of a chance and too much confidence.
So hang on, Glenn. We did also want to see him have rounds, didn't we?
Okay, let's come to that in a minute, but just on the point Johnny's made there about his own corner and the way they developed a fighter in the case of Nelson. In this case, you've heard David Haye's people telling him how good he was.
No, well, I don't think...
Is that good enough?
He was very good early. He slackened off and he let somebody into the fight that shouldn't have really been in the fight, but then he come on when he needed to and he got rid of him. So overall, he still did the job. I think
what Dave was trying to do tonight was to prove that he could box and take people out later on in the rounds. Now, if you know you can do that in the gym, don't bother about anybody else. Get stuck in, get him out of there.
He boxed like a person that doesn't want to exert himself.
Yeah, like he didn't believe in his ability.
He doesn't want to go out the comfort zone, because I'm not sure he really does believe in his fitness. If he's got to dig right down that he's got it.
All right, but nonetheless, in fairness to him, we were coming here tonight looking for improvement from this camp that he's been in, Miami, getting ready for this fight. The way he started the fight tonight, Glenn, he did look sharp, didn't he? You must give him that.
He started the fight fantastic. I mean, it really did look punch perfect, very, very sharp. It looked like, he'd really done the training right, accurate. It just looked a perfect performance, and it looked like after the first few rounds, he was going to come through. Look at that right hand. I mean, timing's right. He's getting his shots off. He's putting combinations together. Looking perfect.
David's jabs, David's body shots were very concussive, very strong, very controlling of Johansen. And it sort of dented his confidence. And then, as the fight went on, we got to round 4. David felt second wind.
Why was that happening?
When you get to round 4, that's most fighters feel second wind, and they start to feel a little bit tired. But then when you've got past 4 or 5, you come into your own zone again. David has never got to that stage. He got through it.
He didn't expect to be there, to be honest, in round 4. And all of a sudden, Johansen's coming at him, putting some shots together, and just there, he's starting to think, oh, hold on, this is not the script. This is not what's supposed to happen now. So for here, now he's starting to think. Now he's starting to say, I need to readjust, re-engage and reaffirm.
He's boxing like a guy that hasn't got any confidence. He no longer sat on his shots. He started to bounce on his feet and step out of the way. David's success is his power and his punches.
Okay, but the way he's told us that middle part of the fight, I am trying to learn to be patient.
I think he was. I think in his own way he was. Remember, this guy's never been past 5 rounds. He either knocks him out or he's been stopped.
And you can't argue with how he did up a level again.
So he did. I think it's his way. It's a novice way of which he is in that respect, to think about it, to find out what he has to do. But then he did it. Then he come round, he changed tactics, got on the front foot, became aggressive. And then,
David's telling us he's working hard in Miami. Therefore, he's working for 12 rounds in Miami, doing all the hard work. So I wouldn't give 2 hoots about.
Does he look to you like a man who's working hard in Miami?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't, because if I was David and I'd worked hard in Miami, I'd want to get him out there as fast as possible. because you don't get paid any extra for overtime. It doesn't matter what they say, you can't box in later rounds. If you know you can do it,
but
it doesn't matter what anybody says.
Johnny, it was a good stoppage.
Oh,
he was strong.
Stoppage.
He hit him with good right hands, and the referee was right to stop it at that time.
But you know, my problem was, if Johansen had have got through that onslaught, would David have come as confident? Would he carried on putting the pressure on, or would he have stayed on his back foot? He got one shot in, and then he thought, let me throw a few in.
He didn't get the chance because he got stopped.
Something else. You know, the pack surrounded him after the fight. The fans love him, and the media are really interested in him. This is how he is. Maybe he's just one of those guys who is a maverick, and he's going to be a maverick.
He is. I mean, he's always had that personality, right from when he was young. He does things differently. For me, Miami wouldn't be the place that I would put David here. I think there's too many.
Yeah, that's why you retired early, by the way.
I would put him on a hillside somewhere in the middle of nowhere, in a log cabin.
The good thing is the story goes on. It's a successful outcome, at least, on the night for David Haye. Light middleweight action, lots to enjoy here tonight. Changing of the guard, really, his European Cruiserweight Championship, but extended beyond 5 rounds for the first time by Lasse Johansen. Haye wins on an 8th round stoppage. Next week on Friday Fight Night, from Japan, Hozumi Hasegawa and Virapol Saprom. They meet for the WBC World Bantamweight David Haye show, Glenn. What next?
Well, he's getting ready to go in with the big boys, so it's a very quick learning curve for David here. He's got the power. He's trying to get a few more rounds in there. Now he needs to go in with the big boys. He needs to be ready. He needs to make sure there's no doubts. He knows what he's doing, and he does his best work.
Johnny, we've loved having you back with us tonight. You've been in the wars, though, haven't you?
Yes, I have. It's been a bit unfortunate. Unfortunately, I tore a patella tendon. I don't like hospitals in the first place, and it really put me out for a while.
You're going to fight on?
Then I can tell you that once this injury gets better, my intention is to, but we'll find out.
And what about Haye, finally? Is he at the level of the Nelsons, Mormecks? Can he be?
David Haye needs to be careful what he wishes for. He wishes to be a champion. Now he's European champion. He's got the responsibility of defending it against people that can fight.
You're still in good form. Thanks for being with us, John, and as ever, thanks to Glenn. Most of all to you for being with us tonight. We don't know how good David Haye's going to be, but it is going to be fun finding out.